Chapter 1. The Bus Stand. The bus stand smelled like wet cement and old impatience. A tired streetlight buzzed above me, flickering like I couldn't decide whether this moment deserved brightness or darkness. Rain had stopped a few minutes ago, but everything still looked rinsed. Benches, road, my hands, my thoughts. I sat with my elbow on my knees, staring at nothing in particular, as if the right answer might arrive on the next bus. My phone vibrated once. Not her. Of course not. I told myself I came here to cool off, to breathe, to think. But the truth was uglier. I came here because I didn't know what else to do with the part of me that wanted to run. I stared at the empty road and tried to understand how life can go from perfect to fractured so quietly. And like every coward who can't face the present, my mind does what it always does. It escaped into memory. Flashback. The perfect beginning. Ours started like a story that makes families smile, arranged, clean, approved. The kind where every relative says destiny because it's easier than admitting it's also logistics and faith and two sets of parents hoping their children don't end up lonely. The first meeting was formal, everyone pretending to be casual, smiles that lasted just a bit too long, questions with hidden answers. And then there was her, Rutu. Not loud, not trying too hard, just present. Like she belonged to the room without needing to prove it. I remember thinking, she looks like she knows herself. That terrified me a little. My mother loved her immediately. My father liked me. My father did that satisfied nod, like he'd silently approved me for my own future. Everything aligned, as if life for once wanted to be kind. And then came our first coffee. A first moment without parents, without rehearsed sentences, without an audience. We sat across from each other at the cafe, and that smelled like roasted beans and possibility. She ordered matcha. Matcha? I asked, making a face like I knew what it was. It's an acquired taste, she said, sipping it like she was born to. Naturally, I tried to impress her. I'll have matcha tea too, I told the waiter, with the confidence of a man who had no idea what he was signing up for. She raised an eyebrow. Are you sure? I'm sure, I lied. The matcha arrived. Green. Too green. Like the tea had photosynthesized. I took a sip and immediately regretted every decision of my life I made since birth. My soul left my body for a second. Rutu tried to keep a straight face. She failed. She laughed. Properly laughed. Covering her mouth, eyes shining, shoulders shaking, like she couldn't hold it in. What happened? She asked, completely innocent. It's interesting, I said, coughing in dignity. Interesting, she replied, amused. That's a diplomatic way of saying it tastes like grass. I finished a sentence. And then we both laughed so hard, people turned around, and just like that, something shifted. And at some point, without either of us declaring anything dramatic, the air between us started to feel like home. Flashback, the wedding day. The memories move forward whether you want them to or not. The wedding day appears in mind like a slow motion scene that refuses to fade. A stage, lights, flowers, too many people, too many blessings. And then she walked onto the stage like a peach lehenga. Peach, soft, warm, almost unreal against the bright chaos around her. The color looked like it belonged to sunrise. For a second, everything else blurred. The noise, the rituals, the camera flashes, the relatives calling out instructions like they were directors of my life. All I could see was her. She looked beautiful in a way that didn't feel like makeup or jewelry. It felt like certainty. Like the universe had taken a breath and said, yes, this. And then when she reached me and our eyes met, I remember thinking something so simple it almost broke me. How lucky am I? I wanted to freeze that moment forever. Cut back to today. The present snapped back like a rubber band. The bus stand, the damn bench underneath me, the buzzing street light, and the fight. God, the fight. It didn't start as a fight. It started as a conversation. The kind couples have when something has been heavy for too long. Rutu had been quiet for days, quiet in a way that's louder than shouting. I had been busy in a way that's just an excuse with a good grammar. Work was swallowing me, deadlines, calls, the constant pressure of having to be the person everyone expects you to be. And when I came home, I wanted silence, rest, no questions. But love isn't a switch you can turn off because your calendar is full. She asked me something small, something like, "Can we talk?" But what she meant was, "Can you come back to me?" And I stupidly heard it as in another demand. I heard it as pressure. I heard it as one more thing I was failing at. So I snapped. "You don't understand what I'm dealing with," I said. She raised her voice. She didn't raise her voice. She just looked at me. Her eyes accused me. They hurt. "I understand," she said quietly. "That's the problem. I understand so much that I've started disappearing in my own life." The sentence should have stopped me. It should have made me step towards her. Instead, ego stepped in. Because when a man is drowning, he often blames the hand trying to pull him out. And when we say things that we can never fully take back, mean things, sharp things, the kind that stays in walls even after the shouting ends. She said, "It feels like I'm married to your work." I said, "Maybe you should be." Silence followed, thick, shocked, deadly. Her face changed in a way I will regret forever. Not anger, not drama, just a quiet collapse. And then she whispered, like she couldn't believe she was saying it, "Do you even want to be with me?" I should have said yes, even if I was tired, even if I was stressed, even if I was struggling. I should have said yes. But today was the breaking point. Today, all my exhaustion found a mouth, and I made it clear. "I don't," I said. "I can't do this, and I don't want to be with you." The words fell from me like stones. I watched them hit her. I watched them sink. And still, I didn't stop them. I grabbed my keys like I was escaping a burning building. She didn't chase me. She didn't beg. She just stood there, like she was trying to remember how to breathe, and I stormed out. Like love was something you could walk away from and still remain whole. The old man. A bus rolled in, hissed like a tired animal, then left again without anyone getting on. That's when I noticed him. He wasn't there a moment ago, or maybe he was. I had been too busy drowning to see him. An old man sat 2 benches away. Neat clothes, calm posture, eyes that looked like they'd seen many endings and stopped being afraid of them. He looked at me immediately. He didn't look at me immediately. He looked at the road, like he was waiting for something or someone to arrive. Finally, he spoke. "Not the kind of night people come here for chai," he said. I didn't answer. He smiled faintly. "Good, that means you're not here for small reasons." I glanced at him. "Do I know you?" He looked at me then properly, and something about his gaze made my stomach tighten. Not because it was threatening, because it was familiar. He said my name like it was a memory. "Sid." My spine straightened. "How do you know my name?" He didn't react to my suspicion. Instead, he said softly, "Because you said it once, when you were holding her hand and promising you'd never let go." I felt cold. "Who are you?" His eyes held mine. "Someone who has made the same mistake you just made." My throat tightened. "I didn't make a mistake. You said you don't want to be with her," he cut in gently, like he was finishing a sentence for me. "And you believed yourself." I stared. "What is this? Some kind of trick?" He chuckled. "If this was a trick, I'd ask for money, or blessings, or your phone." He then leaned forward slightly. "But I want something else." "What?" He said it like truth, not a line. "I want you to remember her." I laughed bitterly. "I remember her just fine." "No," he said, "you remember her like a paragraph. I want you to remember her like a universe." I swallowed. What are you talking about?" He looked up at the sky, clouded, blank. "Do you believe in parallel worlds?" said. I almost scoffed. "This isn't the time." He nodded. "It's exactly the time." Then he turned back to me, eyes steady, voice quiet enough to feel dangerous. "You and Ritu are meant to find each other. Not once, not by accident, in every version of life that exists." My breath caught. He continued. 5 universes, 5 stories, 5 reminders. I shook my head. "This is insane." He smiled again, sadly this time. "Insane is walking away from the one person who would still choose you on your worst day." I looked away because the words hit too close. "How do you know she would choose me?" I muttered. "Because she already did." And then he stood up, slowly, like time itself respected him. He stepped closer and held out his hand. "Come," he said. I stared at his hand like a weapon. What if I don't? He didn't threaten me. He just said the line that cracked something inside my chest. Then you live the universe where you lose her and pretend you didn't. My pulse thudded in my ears. My mind screamed to run. My heart, my stupid heart, moved first. I placed my hand in his. His skin was warm, not old, not weak. Warm like something familiar, like home, like me. And then the world blinked. The vanishing. The bus stand dissolved, not like a dream, like a painting being erased. The street light stretched into golden thread. The road became a ribbon of the shadows. The air thickened, vibrating softly, like the universe had started humming a secret song. I tried to pull my hand away, but his grip tightened, not painful, but certain. Don't fight it, he said. You can't understand the universe by standing still. Then everything became weightless. We weren't falling, we were floating. Where are we? I whispered. He then looked at me. He looked ahead, like a man navigating memory. In between, he said, where you learn what you are about to throw away. Then he turned slightly for a moment in the reflection of thousand fragments. I saw his face clearly, and the familiarity wasn't a feeling anymore, it was a fact. Before I could speak, the universe pulled us forward, and the first world opened like a door. Universe 1, college. The sound returned first, not the rain, not the road, laughter. Teenage laughter, sharp, careless, like people who haven't been broken yet. We landed into sunlight. Not physically, more like consciousness slid into the scene that existed. A college classroom, fans spinning lazily. A professor writing something serious on the board with half the class mentally resigned from education. I looked down. I was younger. I could feel it. The lightness in the body, the innocence in my breath, and then she walked in. Rutu, but different. Younger. Her hair tied up, back hung over one shoulder, face slightly annoyed like the world had inconvenienced her by existence. She looked around for a seat. The only empty seat was next to me. My younger self, that version of me, sat up too straight, pretending not to care. She sat down with a huff. Is this seat taken? She asked, even though she was already sitting. I blinked, surprised by that familiarity of her tone. No, I said, but it might become famous one day. She turned slowly. Why? Because you're sitting on it. She stared for 2 seconds, then snorted. Wow, that was tragic. I felt myself smile. It's my first day, I'm still warming up. Try warming up somewhere else, she said, with her lips, but her lips twitched. The professor started teaching. Nobody listened. She opened her notebook, then paused, frowning. Do you have an extra pen? She whispered. My younger self patted pockets dramatically. I do, but it comes with terms and conditions. She looked at me like I was a mosquito. Give it. I will, I said, but you have to answer one question. She sighed as if this was the worst thing that had ever happened to her. What? What's your name? She hesitated just a moment. Rutu. The name fell into the room like it belonged there. I nodded like I'd just received a blessing. Sid, I said. Your pen, she said. I handed it to her. Our fingers brushed, and the air changed, not dramatically, not magically, just enough, like the universe had leaned in. Quick moments that built us. Time moved in warm flashes, us sneaking out after lectures for samosas, her pretending that she didn't enjoy my jokes while laughing anyway, me lending her my hoodie because she forgot hers and then refusing to return it because it felt lucky, her teaching me how to study like a normal person, me teaching her how to skip class like a professional criminal. One day, she caught me staring at her during a boring lecture. What? She whispered. Nothing, I whispered back. She leaned closer. You're smiling like an idiot. I leaned closer too. You're making me one. She sat back, cheeks slightly pink, pretending she didn't hear. And I realized something. In this universe, love didn't arrive with family approval. It arrived with stolen pens, shattered laughter, shared laughter, and 2 teenagers accidentally building a future out of small moments. It was cute, it was stupid, it was perfect. And then the old man's voice entered the scene like a thunder behind sunshine. Now watch what tries to break it. The separation that hurt before it happened. The acceptance letter came like a knife wrapped in gold. A scholarship, abroad, a dream. This version of me read it 5 times, heart pounding, then folding it like a sin and hid it in the drawer. Because he knew the moment he told her the universe would split. Rutu sensed it before she knew it. She always did. She noticed the distracted replies, the way his eyes kept leaving the present, the missed calls he blamed on sleep even though she could hear the lie. One evening, sitting on the college steps, she asked softly, "What are you not telling me?" He smiled too quickly. "Nothing." She stared at him. "Sid," that tone again, the truth demanding tone. He tried to dodge it. "You're overthinking." "Don't," she cut in. Not loud, just firm. "Don't say that." He looked away, and then when he finally told her, really told her, it wasn't romantic. It wasn't "we'll make it work." It was framed like a choice, opportunity, versus us. "I have to go," he said, voice breaking around the edges. "This is big." She nodded slowly, absorbing the blow with stillness that scared him. "And what about us?" she asked. He answered like a man who thought love should survive quietly. "We'll be fine. We are strong." Her eyes filled, not because she doubted love, but because she doubted effort. "Strong doesn't mean untouchable," she said. He reached for her hand. She let him hold it, but her fingers felt colder than usual. And this universe, invisible and cruel, smiled. Because now it had an antagonist. Distance. Distance became a third character. Abroad wasn't just a place, it was a thief. Time zones turned into scheduling. She stayed up late, eyes burning, waiting for his calls. He was always rushing, class, work, life, moving forward without her. Video calls froze at worst moments. One night when she needed him, the screen would glitch, his face struck mid-sentence, the voice breaking into digital fragments. "Hello, can you hear me?" she would ask. And he would say, "Wait, your network." And sometimes the call would drop. And she would stare at the dark screen like it was a rejection. Messages became misunderstanding. A short "okay" from him could ruin the entire night. A delayed reply from her could make him defensive. Tone disappeared, warmth disappeared, patience disappeared. New people entered his life, study, partners, friends, names she didn't know, and every familiar laugh in the background made her feel like she was replaceable. Distance kept whispering, "You're not in his world anymore." The breaking point. It wasn't a huge betrayal, it was something smaller, something more realistic. The call rang once, twice, then stopped. She had called him one night that she needed him, the night her father had been hospitalized. The one night she was terrified and alone and trying to be brave. And he didn't pick up. Later he texted, "Sorry, was busy." Busy. That word. That weapon. When she finally confronted him, voice shaking, he said the careless sentence that ended worlds. "You're overthinking this." She went silent, not dramatic, not screaming, just silent. Because after everything she had carried, sleep, pride, loneliness, being told she was overthinking felt like being erased. Resolution earned, not easy. This version of me finally saw it. Not just her sadness, the weight she had carried. He didn't fix it with words, he changed something real. He started waking up early every day, not when it was convenient, but when it was hard, just to call her before she slept. He learned to show up even when he was exhausted. He stopped saying busy like it was a shield. He saved money, not for parties, not for gadgets, but for a ticket home. When he finally returned, he met her outside the college gates like a boy who had realized love isn't a feeling, it's a practice. He didn't say "I missed you," he said the truth. "I didn't understand what you were carrying," he whispered, "and I'm ashamed." Ruth looked at him for a long time, and then she said quietly, "I didn't want perfection, Sid. I wanted presence." He nodded, eyes wet. "I'm here," he said, "not as visitor, as yours." And for the first time in weeks, she stepped forward and held him like she'd been holding her breath. Back in the between, the scene faded like mist, the college laughter, the sunlight, her younger smile. All of it dissolved into shimmering space between spaces. I stood there, breathless, throat tight, because I saw it. I saw how easily love breaks when effort stops. and how stubbornly it survives when someone chooses to fight for it anyway. The old man watched me like he had been waiting for this exact silence. Now, he said softly, "Tell me." I swallowed. My voice came out cracked. In that universe, she stayed back. He nodded. "She stays in more than you know." My chest hurt. "And in this universe," I whispered, thinking of the words I'd thrown at her, thinking of her face collapsing. I just told her I don't want her. The man's eyes softened. Not pity, but recognition. "That's why I came," he said, "because I remember the universe where you meant it." He held out his hand again. "Come," he said, "4 more." I looked at his hand, then at an endless fragments of reality around us. And for the first time I stormed out of my home, I felt something other than anger. Fear. Not of losing an argument. Fear of losing her. I took his hand and the universe opened again.